Imagine waking up with no roof over your head, no food in your stomach, and only the cold pavement as your bed. Everyone walks past you, avoiding you eye contact, as if you are invisible. You are broke, hopeless, and forgotten. Now imagine that same man just a few years later pulling up in a Bentley, owning a multi-million dollar company and inspiring millions around the world. This is not fiction, this is the real story of a homeless man who beat all odds and became a millionaire. Stay with me because this story might just change the way we look at life forever. Our story begins with a man named Chris Gardner. Born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chris had a tough childhood. His father abandoned the family, and his mother, tough, loving, struggled to raise him. He witnessed domestic violence, poverty, and at times had to live in foster homes. Despite all odds, Chris grew up determined to make something of himself. He joined the Navy, worked in medical supply sales, and tried to provide for his young son, Christopher Jr. But life was not kind. In the early 1980s, things began to spiral. His marriage fell apart. He invested everything he had in a bone density scanner businesses which did not take off. Money vanished, debt grew, he was evicted. And just like that, Chris and his toddler son were homeless. Chris carried his son on his back from shelter to shelter. Sometimes they slept in public restrooms at subway stations. He would press a chair under the door to keep it closed, holding his caring child in his arms, whispering lullabies to make him feel safe. By day, Chris wore a cheap suit and knocked on the door of stockbroker firms, asking for a chance. He had no degree, no experience, but he had ambition and hunger. Eventually, Dean Ryder Reynolds, a stock brokerage firm, offered him an unpaid no money for months. But Chris took it. He knew it was his one shot. He worked tired. He worked tirelessly, studying at night in shelters, learning everything he could about finance. He made 200 cold calls a day, every single day. Despite the struggle, Chris refused to give up. He treated every phone call like it was $1 million opportunity. He often didn't eat so his son could. He skipped sleep so he could study. And slowly his efforts started to pay off. He finished the internship at the top of his class. He was offered a full time position. The first paycheck, it was not millions, but to Chris. Huh? The first paycheck, it was not millions, but to Chris, it was freedom. He could financially afford a small apartment. His son had a bed. He had dignity again. Chris continued climbing the ladder, working for big firms like Bear Stearns, but he did not stop there. In 1987, he took the ultimate risk and started his own brokerage firm, Gardner Rich and Co. His company grew rapidly. He managed large clients. Eventually, he sold a portion of his firm in a multi-million-dollar deal. From sleeping on the subway floor to being worth over $60 million, Chris Gardner had made it. So, what wa- so what made the difference? Was Chris just lucky? No, it was his mindset. Chris believed that you can only depend on yourself to make things happen. He had discipline, vision, and he had discipline, vision, and resilience that most people give up on when life gets tough. Even when he was hungry and exhausted, Chris slow Chris showed up in a suit, ready to work. Even when he was rejected 100 times a day, he smiled and dialed again. He had a why, his son, and that was stronger than any excuses. Later in life, Chris became a motivational speaker, a philanthropist, and even wrote a best selling memoir, The Pursuit of Happiness, which became a blockbuster film starring Will Smith. And yes, the power subway bathroom scene in the movie, and yes, the powerful scene, and yes, that powerful subway bathroom scene in the movie that was real. Chris did not keep his wealth to himself. He started the Chris Gardner Foundation, helping others escape homelessness, guiding young people to find direction, and funding education for underprivileged youth. He even turned down millions in endorsements, choosing to stay authentic and only support causes he truly believed in. Chris traveled the world, speaking in front of world leaders, CEOs, and struggling students alike. He said, "The cavalry. He said, the cavalry are not coming. You have got to be your own cavalry." His story became a beacon of hope that no matter how deep you have fallen, it's never too late to rise. Most people see a homeless man and assume they are lazy, broken, or lost. But behind every person is a story. Chris Gardner's story teaches us that life is not about where you start, it's about where you refuse to give up. From a poor boy in Milwaukee to a homeless father to a Wall Street millionaire. If Chris can do it, maybe you can too. But you need grit, you need focus, and above all, you need to believe in yourself when no one else will. If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Like this video, comment below what's your dream and what's stopping you. Subscribe for more real powerful stories that inspire. Remember, the pain you are in today could be the fuel for your comeback tomorrow. This was the story of Chris Gardner, the homeless man who became a millionaire.